Hey friends, it's Lindsay Stitches. Welcome to my channel. I am back again for another update on my 2022 embroidery journal. It feels like only a few days ago that I posted my March update because it kind of was, but I'm trying to catch up a little bit and post my videos at the start of a new month rather than recording them at the end of the month and then having to catch up on my stitching. So here I am. I'm not going to share any embroidery journal tips in this video, so I'm just going to tell you a few extra stories from my month of April and show you some of my favorite things that I stitched throughout the month. On the 2nd of April, Josh and I decided to make some bacon and egg rolls at home and go and pick up some coffee and have breakfast at Bicton Baths, which is a little park next to the river. It was really nice. I actually got shat on by a bird while we were sitting there, which I know is meant to be lucky, but I decided to go with the nicer part of that morning and stitch the bacon and egg roll. On the 3rd of April, Josh bought some new work pants and needed to alter them so that they would fit him. I can sew a little bit, but I'm not super confident, and I know that altering pants is not exactly like a beginner sort of sewing thing to do, but Josh was super confident that he would be able to get it done and make them fit better, so we did it and they actually turned out all right and fit him really well. He's really happy with them. He doesn't stop talking about them, so I stitched his work pants. On the 4th of April, Josh's friends Nick and Michael came over and we ate dumplings and some pork buns for dinner, so I stitched a little pork bun. On the 5th of April, I took photos of my Waratah embroidery and my kits so that I could finally put them up on my website. So I stitched a little Waratah flower. Why is it not? There we go. For that day. On the weekend from the 8th till the 11th of April, we were actually meant to be in Melbourne for the Formula 1 Grand Prix, but flights to Melbourne from Perth were super expensive, so we decided to save our money for something else. So because we were missing out on watching the Formula 1, we decided to go and watch the Top Fuel drag races on the Saturday night. So I stitched the little drag car, which is actually my favorite thing that I stitched in April. We ended up watching the Grand Prix at home and ate some little party pies and hot dogs while we did it. So I stitched a little party pie and hot dog there. Tuesday the 12th was super weird. So I was at home that day. The power went out at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was looking at the Western Power website and it was telling me that the power was going to come back on at about 7 o'clock. So Josh and I decided we would get takeaway for dinner so that we didn't have to cook at home because we couldn't turn the oven or the stove on. The power didn't end up coming on before we went to bed, but Josh actually turned the bedroom light on before we went to bed so that he would know when the power came back on. It came on at about 1:45 midnight. So we woke up and were like, oh my god, what is happening? So for that, I stitched the light coming on in the middle of the night, and then for the next day, I stitched something that actually happened that night as well, but it was at like 1:30, so I'm counting it as the next day. I woke up to a really strange sound, so I got up to go and look at what it was. It sounded like water, and I was like, oh my god, the house is flooding or something. But I actually went out to the lounge room, and the glass panel in the back door had cracked and was just shattering. The whole thing was shattering. So I stitched the broken door for that day. We were a bit worried that it was someone trying to break into the house. There's like a couch on the outside of the door, so it was kind of a weird spot to break a window if you were going to try and get in the house. So I think it just happened by itself, which was really strange, but yeah. On the 15th of April, Josh and I went for a really nice ride around the Swan River, so I stitched the river with some of the bridges there. On the 16th, I went to the op shop and I found a really great pink and orange Helly Hansen shirt. I tried it on and it was a little bit too small for me, but it was a brand new shirt, so I decided to get it anyway. After a little bit of help from people on Instagram, I actually did unpick some of the pieces and I have started to make it a little bit bigger. I haven't finished it yet, but it is getting there. So for that, I just stitched the colors that are on the shirt there. On the 17th of April, Josh took me on a surprise to go and ride Railway Reserve's Heritage Trail, which is a gravel bike trail. So I stitched a little sign. It's super tiny. It's meant to say RRHT. It's about a 40-kilometer gravel trail, but I only had like a smoothie for breakfast and I kind of started to die a little bit about 20 kilometers in. So we had to take a little bit of a shortcut to go and get breakfast. So we ended up doing only about 33 kilometers of it, which was still a pretty good effort, I thought. On the 18th, we went to IKEA and bought some orange lamps. So I stitched my little orange bedside table lamp. On Tuesday the 19th, my Poppy Lissaman bag arrived. So I stitched that. I actually used a metallic thread on my hoop for the first time, which is super exciting. It looks really cute. On Thursday the 21st, I recorded my March update for YouTube. I actually soundproofed my room by putting some blankets and stuff around this room to try and make the audio a little bit better on my videos. So I stitched my little camera microphone on there to represent that. So on my walk to work from the bus stop where I get off, there's like a little lake on the side of the road. There's often ducks in there, so I like saying hello to the ducks, but on that morning there was actually a little rubber ducky in there as well, so I stitched that because it was really cute. Now I am not a big watcher of trashy TV shows, but the one exception that I have to that rule is Selling Sunset. I love all the drama and how funny all the women are on there. I have no idea how they get any work done. Anyway, season 5 came out. So on the 23rd, I pretty much watched all of that, and I stitched a little golden house to represent how fancy they all are. On the 24th of April, I stitched some little bread things onto my hot bread tote bag. So I stitched another tiny little version of one of those onto my hoop for that day. April the 25th was Josh's first fly out day since we came to Perth. So this is Josh's first time working away since we moved here, so it's my first time at home by myself. I don't really have any friends in Perth, so it's a little bit lonely, but Mosby and I are getting through okay. On the 26th, I made a batch of brownies because I felt like something for dessert. I actually used a recipe that I found from Bon Appetit, which had soy sauce in it, so I stitched a little soy sauce bottle. On the 27th, it was raining and I was at work, and when I got home I found that Mosby had pooped on the bedroom floor because he doesn't like going outside when it's wet, so I stitched his little turds. On the 28th, I bought a ticket in the MSWA Mega Home Lottery, so I stitched a little golden ticket for that. So I am hopefully going to be the lucky winner of a brand new $3 million house in the next few weeks. I will keep you updated. On Friday the 29th, I treated myself to a bottle of Devil's Corner Pinot Noir because I had $10 on my Woolies rewards card, so I got $10 off. Otherwise I wouldn't usually buy it. And that's everything for my April update. Thank you for watching. I am going to try and get all of these videos out at the start of the month rather than leaving them until the end of the month. So I hope you keep watching and enjoying hearing my stories about what I've been up to. And yeah, I will see you on the next one.